There is power in your feminine essence. There is power in knowing how to balance both the feminine and the masculine essence. It's the same thing with hormones. We have more estrogen than we do testosterone. That's just the way that we were created. And in society, we've been programmed to believe that we need to operate more in the masculine to survive this world, to survive the complexities of this world, to survive just men in general, the workplace, just everything that comes with this world, that we need to operate within the masculine. But what that has done is that has stripped us from our being, our essence as women. And it has stripped us from elements that capture our full essence, that would otherwise support us and help us to flourish and become the people who we were placed here to be and become. And there are certain gifts and abilities that we have all been given at different measures, and we are required to tap into those giftings and to share those gifts and to embody who we are, so that the world can enjoy us being our full, authentic selves. When we fall into people pleasing, when we fall into our performative selves, then we may think that we're benefiting the world, or that we're helping people, or that these people are happy because of the things that we're doing for them, because we are abandoning ourselves to support them. Even if they are getting that instant gratification from our self-abandonment, in the long run, you will be despised because of your inability to care for yourself first, and to your inability to step into and to cultivate your feminine essence. You will be despised not only by the people around you, not only by your spouse, but by society in general. When we as women try to operate in this world under the conditions or under the guidelines that we have been given, we don't operate in our full capacity, we don't operate in our full essence, and it limits us from just being able to be who we were created to be. And it limits us from creating amazing things in this world that would benefit the world at such a greater capacity than what we are currently doing, which is suppressing ourselves and boxing ourselves into the constraints or the parameters that society has given us, or told us that this is the conditions of our existence. There are many things right now that you should have started to do, but you can't, because you don't have the ability to step into those things that are for you, that you would flourish and you would master and you would be able to build upon. And the reason why is because your feminine essence or your power is leaking into many different areas of your life, and you haven't quite learnt how to take power, how to take your power back, and how to operate within your power in a way that elevates you, but also elevates the people around you, whether they know it or don't know it. And right now, you could be in a relationship that is constantly taking from you, that is constantly harnessing your power, who you are, your essence, and that is dimming your light, that is forcing you to actually self-abandon in order for you to please the other person. You could be in family dynamics that give the same type of toxic patterns. You could be in a workplace right now that doesn't allow you to be able to show up as your full authentic self without being criticized. Whatever you're doing right now, you are in an area in your life that doesn't allow you, that has created limitations within yourself and doesn't allow you to show up as your full authentic self. And it all goes back to not understanding how to operate within your feminine essence. I don't think we realize as women how much impact we can have, or that we have, on others and the people around us when we tap into that power, when we tap into our feminine essence. When we pull back our power, we don't really understand how impactful that is. It's like throwing a pebble in the river or in the ocean. There's a ripple effect that is created when a woman is within her essence or within her power. Her energy ripples through every single person that she's around, whether she knows it or whether she doesn't know it. It's happening. And same thing, negatively, if you are not in your power, if you're drained, if you are just people pleasing, self-abandoning in order to accommodate other people's needs and desires, there's a ripple effect with that as well. You are creating this world around you, or system around you, that operates under self-neglect, operates under the idea that self-neglect is what is needed for the world to operate and for the world to survive. I'll give you an analogy so you understand how powerful the feminine essence is, and just to give you some sort of illustration or vision to help you understand better, and to know how powerful you actually are, so that you can be more conscious about the choices that you're making, more conscious about the thoughts that you're having, more conscious about just your everyday activities. Pull your power back and come into alignment with the things that you are meant to be doing in this world. So, for example, think of the feminine essence as this. Whatever is given to the feminine is multiplied. It is given at a greater scale or greater capacity than what was received. So if you plant a seed in the earth, you know that seed is going to someday sprout, and then that is going to grow into a tree or whatever plant that you have intended. Whatever the feminine receives, the feminine has the power to multiply and give that back at a greater capacity. If you've ever been with someone that was dealing with some sort of mental health, depression, anxiety, whatever, if you recall how you felt after dealing with those people, you probably remember feeling anxious yourself or depressed, like all of a sudden you are now carrying something that you never once carried before. You're dealing with things that you never once dealt with before. And that is because you've given yourself to people or someone that was dealing with something that you never had before, but you're now reflecting that or dealing with that at a greater level, because whatever the feminine receives, the feminine gives back at a greater capacity. It multiplies it back. And this is why sometimes men might have a hard time trying to understand the feminine, or women in general try to understand women, but then they kind of forget that whatever they're giving to the woman, they're receiving back. Whatever you're planting in the woman, you receive back. So here's where your conscious awareness comes into play, and how you can take back your power. You can't rely on other people to realize or to stop taking from your power, to stop harnessing your power, to stop, because there are other people, some of you are in relationships where the person has completely harnessed your power to the point where their lives, they are elevating whilst you are completely depleted. Financially, mentally, emotionally, socially, you have completely depleted in all areas and aspects of your life. There is no creativity within you. You can't pour into your gifts. You can't pour into any area of your life, because you are pouring into someone that keeps on taking, or people that keep on taking. And when people take, they don't just take physically, they are harnessing your energy, which is why you are probably really drained, depleted, angry, resentful, annoyed, all these negative emotions reflecting the things that are happening underneath, at the root. Your energy is being harnessed. And so you can't, as a woman, you can't rely on other people to finally come to themselves and realize that they need to stop harnessing from your energy or harnessing from you. You have to learn how to step into your power and how to cultivate your power, how to stop your power from being harnessed by other people. And that comes from a knowing, first an awareness of what you have, your power, your gifts, your ability, and who you are as a person, your identity as well, who you really are, and not the concepts or the ideas that people have created about you, but who you really are. Who you really are to God, who you really are in your innocence. And then from there it's about boundaries. But not boundaries in a way that you put walls up, in a way that you stop loving. No. I read a piece on my page where I said boundaries is the concept that allows love to continue to flow. I think that's what I said. If you don't have boundaries, then you don't allow love to flow. If you don't have boundaries, then you can't pour into yourself because you're busy overgiving to other people. So you need boundaries. You need to start establishing boundaries in your life to pull that energy back. Pull yourself back from overgiving. A lot of the times we think that we're doing something out of love. A lot of the times that we think that we are overgiving or self-abandoning ourselves to accommodate other people's desires out of love. But that is where the knowing of or the understanding of love is corrupted, or you don't fully understand what love really is. Love can take form in any way that it wants to take in your life. You just have to be aware and be connected to God to understand how love wants to show up, because God is love, love is God. You can't separate the two. It's one. Boundaries. 2023, I started doing this for myself. I realized that I was pouring so much of myself into so many areas and so many people, or into one particular relationship that I was in, my ex, and I realized I had neglected so many parts of myself, and so many of my gifts and so many of my desires I had just laid, they were just dormant because I wasn't doing anything to water them or to give life to them. When I decided to start putting up boundaries, that I started pouring into those areas of my life. And that is where you get to experience real joy, happiness, peace. When you start living in your truth and you start doing the things and expanding your mind, expanding your creativity, and just living for who you are and not who people want you to be. I hope you understand how important your power is